Cats are famously indifferent. They do what they want, when they want, for reasons that have nothing to do with you. Until you cry. And then something changes. Something in them shifts, and they come. Not for food, not for play, just to be there. What triggers that shift is one of the most fascinating things behavioral science has discovered about the cat-human bond. And by the end of this video, you'll never see that moment the same way again. Let's start with what's actually happening in the seconds before your cat appears, because most people assume their cat heard them, the sound of crying, the change in breathing, the quiet that follows a sob. And yes, your cat heard all of that, but the response started before the sound. Your body changes when you're in emotional distress long before you make a single noise. Your cortisol levels spike. Your breathing pattern shifts, shorter, shallower, more irregular. Your heart rate changes. Your body temperature fluctuates slightly. And the chemical composition of the air around you, the invisible cloud of compounds your skin and breath release, shifts in ways that are undetectable to a human nose, but completely legible to your cat. Cats have approximately 200 million scent receptors. They live in a world of chemical information that we don't have access to. And when your emotional state changes dramatically, the way it does when you're overwhelmed, grieving, or falling apart, your cat smells it happening in real time. They didn't wait for you to cry. They were already on their way. Here's what makes this even more extraordinary. Your cat doesn't just detect that something is wrong, they detect that something is wrong with you specifically, because they've spent years learning what right looks like. Every day you've spent with your cat, they've been building a detailed internal profile of your normal breathing, your normal scent, your normal movement patterns and rhythms and emotional temperature. They know what you smell like when you're calm, when you're focused, when you're tired but okay. So when distress arrives, when the cortisol spikes and the breathing changes and the chemistry shifts, your cat doesn't just detect a stressed human, they detect you specifically deviating from your baseline. And that deviation triggers something in them that a stranger's distress never would. This is why your cat responds to your crying in a way they don't respond to, say, a sad movie playing in the background or someone else in the house having a difficult moment. They've calibrated to you. Your emotional state is data they've been collecting for as long as you've been together. And when that data suddenly shifts, they notice in a way that is personal, specific, and impossible to ignore.
So your cat has detected the shift. They've identified it as you, specifically in distress, and now they move. But here's what most people don't realize about what happens next. Your cat doesn't just show up. They make a series of decisions in the moments before they reach you. Decisions that reveal more about your bond than almost anything else they do. Watch carefully the next time it happens. Does your cat come directly to you? No detours, no distractions? Do they approach slowly, carefully, with their body low and their movements deliberate? Do they make contact, pressing against you, settling on your lap, putting a paw on your leg, rather than just sitting nearby? Each of those choices is meaningful. A direct approach with no hesitation means your cat has prioritized you over everything else in their environment. A slow, careful approach means they're reading the situation before committing, not out of fear, but out of attentiveness. And physical contact, especially sustained, deliberate physical contact, means they've decided that proximity alone isn't enough. They want to be felt. That last one is the rarest and the most significant, because physical contact in a moment of distress is a cat choosing to enter your pain with you, not observe it from a distance, not wait for it to pass. Enter it, stay in it, beside you. If your cat settles beside you when you're crying and starts to purr, and many do, most people interpret that as comfort, as their cat trying to soothe them. And that interpretation isn't wrong, but it's incomplete. Cat purring operates at a vibrational frequency between 25 and 150 hertz. Within that range, research has shown measurable effects on the body: reduced cortisol, lower heart rate, decreased feelings of anxiety. When your cat purrs against you during a moment of distress, your nervous system responds to that vibration whether you're aware of it or not. Your breathing begins to slow, your heart rate starts to settle, the cortisol that spiked begins to drop. Your cat is not just keeping you company, their body is actively doing something to yours. But here's the part that goes deeper. Cats also purr when they themselves are in distress. When they're injured, frightened, or overwhelmed, they purr. It's a self-soothing mechanism. So when your cat purrs beside you while you're crying, they may not just be trying to calm you. They may be experiencing something alongside you, a resonance, a distress response of their own, triggered by your pain, and managing it the only way they know how. They're not just helping you through it, they might be going through it with you.
This is the part that matters most. And it's the part that most people only notice in retrospect, long after the moment has passed. Think back to the last time you were truly upset and your cat came to you. Think about when they left, not when you stopped crying necessarily, not when you got up or changed positions. When did your cat decide the moment was over and move on? For most bonded cats, the answer is when your emotional state actually changed, not when you performed being okay, not when you wiped your eyes and took a breath, when the chemistry shifted back, when the cortisol dropped, when your baseline started to return. Your cat wasn't reading your face or your words, they were reading your body, the same way they arrived, through scent and sound and the invisible chemical information you were broadcasting without knowing it. And they stayed, specifically, until that information told them you were stabilizing. That's not a cat sitting with you out of habit or coincidence. That's a cat running a continuous assessment of your well-being, arriving when you needed them, staying until the need passed, and leaving only when their internal data told them you were going to be okay. You never had to ask, you never had to explain, you never had to do anything except fall apart. And they showed up anyway. Because to them, your pain is something worth showing up for. People spend years arguing about whether cats are capable of empathy, whether they truly feel things for the humans they live with, whether the bond is real or just convenient. And then they cry, and their cat comes. Not because they were trained to, not because there's food involved, not because anything about that moment benefits them in any practical way. They come because something in them, something ancient and chemical and deeply bonded, responds to your pain as if it matters, as if you matter. Maybe that's not empathy the way we define it. Maybe it's something older than that word, something that doesn't need a name to be real. Your cat shows up when you fall apart. That's enough. That has always been enough.